Hi, my name is Jamie Edmonds. You may know me from my 20 years in TV news, more than a decade at WDIV in Detroit. I'm Jamie Edmonds. Or you may have heard my voice for the past 3 years on the historic WJR 760 on the morning show. It was so fun to wake up Sunday morning, get ready, watch this game. I have told other people's stories for years. It's time to tell my own. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in February 2026. I am in the thick of the fight. Since that terrible phone call, angels have propped me up and supported me, starting with the two in my household, my husband Ryan and my daughter Olivia. Then the circle expanded to so many people, so many angels helping me get through this. That's why I named this podcast Angels Along the Way. I will talk to folks who treat this awful disease, those who console, those who assist, and those who inspire. I hope this helps anyone and everyone on a similar path. So for this first episode, I thought it was important to tell my story. And to help me tell my story, I'm joined by my friend, Lauren Zakalik.
Hey.
My bestie is here. We thought we'd get into the podcasting game not like this.
No, I assumed it would be about momhood or our dating past.
Suspect dating past, right? But here we are. The journey has taken us here, and I'm so grateful to have you here. Lauren has been my friend since 2007 when we worked together at WILX TV in Lansing. And we lived together.
We did.
Shout out to Trappers Cove, Jolly and Dunkel, in Lansing, Michigan.
Giving away all our secrets.
Then you moved on to Albuquerque.
Yep.
And then you moved on to WFAA in Dallas,
Yeah.
top 5 market, excuse me.
Thank you.
You told stories beautifully there. You were an investigative reporter. You did an awesome job there. I, of course, moved on to Flint and then to Detroit and then to WJR. And you came back in 2023 to Henry Ford to be a little closer to family. And since then, you've been moving up the ladder, Associate VP of Public Relations and Communications here at Henry Ford. So who better to help me tell my story than my good friend Lauren Zakalik, who is an angel along the way for me, because you were the first person through that door of my house when I got the call. You sat on the floor. We cried.
Yeah.
You know intimately what I've been through. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for giving me the honor and trusting me with your story. Like you said, I don't think that either of us imagined that this would be the podcast or this would be the moment that we would be sharing together. But that's life, right? Life surprises us along the way. And before I start crying, I have been blessed in my life to have friends like you who, we met as just little journalism newbies. And now we're, old, grizzled experts and veterans in the field. So I'm really honored. So I'm putting my reporter hat back on for this. And I think it would be helpful, James, if we could just start, kind of from the beginning. I think most people who are listening either know you from your work at Channel 4, WJR, or your, Facebook post or whatever it was. But tell me a little bit about the person I know, right? The Jamie who's a mom, a wife, an athlete. Just kind of give us a picture of where you were in your life before February of this year.
I mean, that was a different person now, that person pre-February 10th. But at that time, I was 42 years old. I was loving family life. I have a 3.5-ish-year-old daughter who's just like the light of our lives. Golfed, loved golf, big golfer. Doesn't mean I'm that good at it. I just did it a lot of times.
You're pretty good.
I worked out 3 times a week. I ate healthy. In fact, I knew I was healthy at that time because at my gym, they have this like weight thing that's called an InBody, and it measures not just your body mass, but like how much muscle mass you have and everything else. And I was like peak of what I wanted to be. I got where I wanted to be right before this. And then this happens. And I'm just like, how in the world did this happen?
Right. Like, you're doing all the right things, right? You don't have a family history. I know you got your mammogram because we've talked about it with some of our other friends. And we've all been on this journey, right? We're in our early 40s. This is the time that you start tracking that stuff. And then it was, I guess, in February or late January that you texted me and another friend of ours and said, I found, it's weird. I found a lump.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
Well, also, no one talks about what's the lump feel like.
No.
Was this something I should be worried about? Was it not?
I actually wanted to ask you because I have never felt a lump, right?
Right.
I think I feel them sometimes, but they're not. So what did it feel like?
So I'm watching TV with my daughter in January in the little playroom we have, and I had an itch sort of near my armpit, under my armpit area. And so I go to scratch, and that's when I felt like a marble underneath my skin.
Okay.
Very defined, very hard. And I was like, uh-oh, this can't be good. I leave her in there to keep watching, call my husband. I immediately think something's wrong because I'd never felt anything like that before. And it was very, very scary. And my husband's like, well, you better call your doctor. That's when I texted my two friends, Maria and Lauren, and I said, this is what's going on. And Lauren, you have some history personally with this.
Totally, yeah.
And you said you need to call your gynecologist right now, get in. I did that, and it was like my main guy was on vacation, so like 2 weeks you can come in. But something didn't feel right to me, and so I went to someone I had never met before within the office.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I need to get in sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that in general, you talk about I also am doing lots of breast monitoring. I'm high risk. Knowing, I think, your risk is really important. Having a physician or an advocate who can talk you through what the risk factors are. But I know that you got to get in as quickly as you can, right? Because we start to spiral a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah. But you got in so quickly that you didn't even really have time to spiral. Like, you were doing thing after thing. So after you saw your doctor, he said, go get a mammogram, right?
He said, it's probably nothing. Do you drink a lot of coffee? It could be a cyst. And so that sort of calmed me a little bit. I do drink a lot of coffee. I'm in morning radio right now.
Yeah.
So, okay. But just to be sure, let's get a better mammogram and ultrasound. And that's, again, when I reached out to you. You work at Henry Ford, and I've been to the cancer center before with a different friend. And so I made an appointment.
Yeah. It all went really quickly after that, didn't it?
Very quickly. So after I got the ultrasound and mammogram, the radiologist comes in and is like, still probably nothing, but we biopsy everything over 2. Yeah. And I'm like, well, this seems really bad. I remember crying in the office when he was telling me that. He's like, it's going to be okay. And so I go out to scheduling, front desk, and they're like, well, we have a biopsy appointment tomorrow morning. So I said, take it.
Hell yeah.
It was either then or 3 weeks later or something. And I was like, no, what am I waiting for? But it was very scary to think about getting a biopsy and waiting for those results. So when I went in to get the biopsy at Henry Ford Cancer Center, the doctor comes in and she said, I see something else on the ultrasound. And then I just knew something is not right here. She's like, I'd like to biopsy that too. Please sign this waiver. Is that okay with you? Yeah. And I'm like, of course it's okay. You're the expert. You're saying that we need to biopsy a second thing. Yeah. This seems really, really bad. Let's do it. So they biopsied both of those, put little markers in so they know where they did it, and then I came out.
And a few days later.
Unfortunately, not a few days later. It's like a week later. You have to wait for pathology. Yeah. Again, texting you and everyone I know, just how is this real life? It's nothing, right? Like you can trick your mind that it's nothing.
Totally. And I told you I've had 3 breast biopsies.
That also helped me too. Because you're like, I've done this.
Yeah, I've done it. And I will say that I think in general, physicians really want to err on the side of caution, right? They don't ever want to take a chance and have something turn out that it was cancer and they didn't think it was. So like biopsies talk to any woman. I feel like biopsies have become just a normal part of breast health, unfortunately, because it's very stressful. But then a morning on February 10th.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah. We were kind of up your tush about it because we knew that you were waiting on it, and we texted.
And what did I say? That it was the worst possible scenario?
Yep.
That a nurse calls you, and my husband works from home. We were both waiting for this call. I put it on speaker. I run down the stairs. He comes out to the living room, and she says, it's cancer. And I could not believe those words were coming out. And I cried just like I am now, just like sobbing, crying. And I looked at my husband, and he looked like a ghost. Like he could not believe what he was hearing either. And he started asking questions that I just couldn't even get out. Like I'm sobbing, like this is not my life.
Right.
And so it was, and the nurse on the phone stays calm. I can't imagine all the calls she has to make. Side note.
Yeah.
She does a wonderful job because she tells you the information. There's no fluff or anything. And I remember saying, am I going to die? She can't say no, but she's like, this is a really good time that you have this. We are going to do the very best care for you, all of that. And then she kind of says, like, it's triple negative. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I didn't know there were kinds within kinds and sub-kinds. Yeah. So it was a very scary, surreal moment in that living room. And then you hang up and you just look at your husband like, what?
when you texted me that I was here at One Ford Place where I work, and I got in my car immediately.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, what do you do? And what I have seen as a friend and somebody who's known you for a really long time, what I have seen in the weeks and months since then is somebody who has exhibited incredible strength and courage during what is ostensibly, and I hated using this term in TV, it's so cliche and old, but like your worst nightmare, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a diagnosis of cancer at 42 years old where you're healthy and you're alive and you're doing all the things. But you have chosen somehow to plow through, one, because we don't have any other option than that, right? Mm-hmm. You have to keep going. Mm-hmm. But two, to share your story. Can you talk to me about the decision to share your story? I mean, you were a public person. Sure, it was weird to like keep a secret for a while.
Yeah, it felt like I was keeping a secret
Yeah.
for a while. I was getting recognized a little bit at the cancer center when I would go in for other biopsies or whatever. And I don't know, I wasn't there yet for about 2 months. I was going through I call it the dark time.
Yeah.
It was very, very tough. And there was not a point within that time where I thought I wanted to do this, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But I got out of the dark time through hearing other people's stories. Honestly, watching people on Instagram go through this helped me. Strangers, this army that mobilizes and finds the newest member of this club that calls you and texts you, and strangers are checking in on you. That's how I got to this point. And then I started to think, I have this platform, which, by the way, I'd like to thank WJR and my bosses for giving me this platform to try and help others. Ann Thomas, Steve Finateri, thank you for this. But maybe I'm supposed to do this, is how my mind started to work, that I could help others and maybe heal myself too as I go through this and talk to people.
I love that. I'm sure the feedback has been, I mean, we've kind of been, our friend Maria and I have been texting you every article that's posted. I mean, from like the Daily Mail to the New York Post. I mean, it's kind of wild. But
it's wild.
It's because it's shocking, right? To have somebody so young and in such good health go through something like this. What have you learned so far about the diagnosis you have? And I don't know if you can answer this, but like how common it is. Are you finding other people that are going through the same thing?
I have. So again, they told me it's triple negative. I just wrote a couple notes because,
it's hard.
Was not in my world about 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But so I have invasive ductal carcinoma. Okay. And within that, the kind is triple negative. And that just means the cancer cells don't have estrogen or progesterone receptors and don't have much of the HER2 protein.
Okay.
So I remember the doctors initially telling me it means like the cancer's not feeding off of those things. When it is, there are different methods they could use to try and help the people that have that kind. Mm-hmm. I don't have that kind. This is an aggressive kind, they told me. And so did it jump to a lymph node? It did, which that was a whole other thing that scared me.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But what I also have heard is because it's like newly divided cells and it's very aggressive, that it is receptive to chemo. And I will say that just from a doctor's appointment with my doctor here, they feel like it's getting smaller through these 7-8 treatments that I've had so far.
Awesome.
So that gives me hope moving forward that, okay, my body's going to respond to this. But it just felt like waves in an ocean. Like I got the bad news with my husband in the living room. Then you go meet the oncologist and they tell you everything that's about to happen, which sounds really scary. Yeah. Then you get the second opinion. And then you get a couple third opinions through doctors that I know. And this was the treatment. I was comfortable at Henry Ford, so I decided to stay here and let's go. Let's roll, right? But then my doctor felt the lymph node. And she goes, why don't we go get that biopsied? And I thought, oh my God, can I get a win? Can I please just get a win? Because it did come back positive for a lymph node, which means it could have been sent to all over my body. Where is it? So then you have to get full body scans. And the first win came when they told me through the breast MRI, it's only in those 2 spots, when the CT and the bone scan showed that it was nowhere else.
Oh, thank God.
So I have the triple negative, the 2 lumps in my left breast, and a lymph node positive. So here we are.
Okay. So I think as somebody who hasn't had cancer, I have been surprised hearing from you all the things that are set in motion once you get that positive diagnosis.
Yeah.
Therapy, wigs, all the things. Can you talk to us a little bit about how surprised you've been to learn and what you've experienced happens the minute you find out you have breast cancer?
Well, they don't waste any time.
Yeah.
So I got the call from the nurse on, I think it was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
The very next day, they have someone that can give you even more information. I'm not sure if it was a doctor, but it's someone that's not a nurse. And they tell you everything that's going on. Then after that, you meet with the oncologist. So now it's 3 days in a row that we're moving forward. And then they were ready to put the port in my chest that Friday.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, hold on a second. This seems very fast.
Yeah.
I do want to get a second opinion, which everybody at Henry Ford was like, absolutely, go get the second opinion.
Yeah.
But that port was in the next week. And within 3 weeks, I had my first treatment, which happened to be Lauren Zakalik's birthday. We feel like it's an omen.
Well, and you got your diagnosis around who my dad loved and adored you. So Saint
Shout out
Simon
to Simon.
is, Simon Zakalik was a big Jamie Edmonds
But yeah,
fan.
it's very quick.
Yeah.
And it's only been, 8 weeks of my life? But I'm already 8 treatments, well, more than 8 weeks, but still.
Yeah.
8 treatments in, and this train is rolling.
Dang.
Yeah.
I have a tough question to ask you, and I don't mean to make you cry, but people who are listening are likely women, right? Who might be going through this or might be worried about it, and they have kids. You have a sweet, sweet little 3.5-year-old who we love and adore, and she's old enough to know something's awry, but not old enough to know all the details. How have you been handling telling Olivia what's up?
That was a hard thing for us to figure out. And I did talk to my therapist about this, and she's too smart. We couldn't hide it completely.
Yeah.
And mommy was crying all over the place, and she's hugging me like, what's going on? Oh, nothing. Everything is fine. She knew. And so what we told her when the port went in and she had to be careful was that I had a boo-boo and it's going to get better. And so she's been using that terminology for the past couple months that you have a boo-boo, you're going to get better. When I started to lose my hair, now what? So again, I referenced my therapist and she was like, you know what? This is totally a personal decision. But what I think would be a good move is to tell her, because you don't want to wear your wig every day when you're at home trying to be comfortable. So why don't you tell her it's a silly side effect that happens because the medicine is making mommy better. Show her pictures of a smiling woman who doesn't have any hair. Tell her that you're going to be okay and that it's a good thing that you're losing your hair. So that's what we did.
Wow.
And that night when I'm putting her to bed, it's in the dark, and I'm laying next to her, and she's like, when the boo-boo goes away, will your hair grow back? Will it grow back? I said, yes, it will. Then it's quiet. But when you pick me up from daycare, can you please wear your wig? Because the kids will not want to see your bald head. I said, fair. I can wear my wig during that. Absolutely, honey. And so when I finally did shave it off because it was falling out, which is a whole emotional thing, I said, do you want to see it? And she looked at it, and then she's like, can you put your hat back on? So I think it scares her a little bit.
Yeah.
But I am amazed with how this 3.5-year-old is dealing with this. It's unbelievable.
Kids are so resilient. Kids are amazing, right? My kids forgive so quickly, and they ask insightful questions, and they understand, I think, a lot more than we think that they do.
100%.
Have you felt relief knowing that she maybe understands a little bit about what's going on?
It kind of has felt like a relief because when I first cut my hair to short because it was getting so dry, she hated it because it did not look like a princess. Princesses don't have short hair, and she really gave me the runaround. So I was really worried about the next steps, but she's been unbelievable. And just out of nowhere, she'll give me a hug, and she'll be like, Mom, I'll love you even without hair. And I'm like, thanks. I mean, I was hoping that was the end game, but she's so sweet and she wants to help me, and it's lovely.
The hair is an interesting one.
Yes, this is Samantha, my awesome wig, which will be an episode. I'm going to talk about beauty.
I think that's a great idea. Also, Samantha's the name that you used to give to people at the bar when you didn't want to tell them your real name. So
I know, but
peeling back the curtains a little bit here.
I didn't know that was going to come up today. That is true. For all those guys that got the name Samantha and a fake number, sorry.
Oh my God. One guy brought up I Dream of Joe. There was somebody named Samantha. And he goes, Samantha.
Enchanted.
Yeah. So you're wearing Samantha right now. It looks
Yep.
amazing.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit, though, about the hair, because there is something that some women, I know somebody who's going through cancer right now who is doing the cold cap.
Yeah.
And has retained her hair, which is interesting. Talk a little bit about your cold cap experience and how you ended up saying, screw it, we're doing it.
I appreciate the cold capping. I love that this is an option for women because I wish I could have done it. It would have been probably a little bit easier than what I got going on. But I don't like to be cold. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And you already have to put cold things on your hands and feet to try and prevent neuropathy. Then you had this cap on with dry ice that has to be changed every 20 minutes. And I hired a lovely lady to come that first day with me.
Yeah.
I got the cold capping stuff all through Penguin. They were amazing. But it just felt like too much. It felt like a lot on top of a lot.
Yeah.
And they said that some people feel that way. And that's just the way I felt, that I'm going through everything with chemo and my daughter. And I can't imagine going home after chemo and changing the cap however long, 5 hours, 4 hours. Just felt like too much to me. So I said no. And then within 2 weeks, I had gone to the place in Birmingham where I got my wig. I got microblading for my eyebrows. Like, I've tried to figure out how to navigate this.
Yeah.
Feel like myself.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that might be like relieving or freeing is like, you know what? I'm going to do this with the hair. It's going to fall out. I'm going to shave my head. You sent me a picture of you post or in the middle of getting your hair shaved off. You had a little sip of bubbly or something to celebrate.
Which, by the way, I'm not drinking if my doctor's listening.
No,
but
she's
I
really not.
I did have champagne when my head got shaved. Sue me.
I can confirm you have only had mocktails out at dinner. But you see it on TV, right? You see it in movies and television shows or whatever of people taking that step. But how did that feel in the moment where you're shaving your head?
Surreal. Chalk that up to another surreal moment.
Yeah.
But I didn't cry as much as I thought I would because I had already been crying about my hair just coming out in clumps. Like, you just touch it and it would come out, and it was all over the house. And I started to have bald spots, and I looked honestly like Gollum. Like, it wasn't a good look. So when the shaving happened, that kind of felt like a relief, honestly, because the other stuff was making me look sick and making me feel bad about the process. So my wig's great. Like, I'm
you
okay.
look great, girl. You look fabulous. So what are you doing right now? Like, how do you feel? Are you working out still? Are you going out still? Like, what does life with cancer look like?
Early on, I was handling the treatments so well, and honestly I kept saying, like, did they make a mistake?
Yeah.
Because I feel great. Now it's starting to get a little harder. Now it's the night of treatment's really hard, and the next day is really hard. I assume it's cumulative, and it'll get harder as I go. But I'm making a point of continuing to work out. I can't go to my group class anymore. I don't want to be around a lot of people touching the same things right now. So another angel along the way is my pal Donnie from Thrive Detroit, who said, you know what, come on off times, just me and you, and I'll work you out.
Oh, my gosh.
And we do a lesser extent. Like, I was lifting really heavy weights before. Now it's less.
Not to brag.
But again, I was
In the best of your life, yeah.
but I'm still working out, or I'm trying to walk. I'm trying to move my body as much as possible. When I feel well, put on that Samantha wig and go to dinner with my husband or take my daughter to the zoo.
Yeah.
Those things are still a possibility for me. I might be really tired down the road, but right now I can still do some things.
The purpose of your podcast, right? You're calling it Angels Along the Way, right? Got it right.
Correct.
Who have been some of those angels? I mean, you don't have to mention me
Lauren,
specifically.
angel number one, walked through my door that first day. The lady that did my microblading, I mean, she just fit me in on a day she wasn't supposed to be working because she knew my story.
Yeah.
The woman who makes these wigs to make women feel more confident walking around. All of the people in my community who are bringing me food. The women in my community and my friend group who are watching my daughter for me and picking her up from daycare. The people who've sent me notes. All of these people are angels so far. And I'm just like so grateful. someone told me this early on when I was in the dark time and I needed to talk to people. There's really dark times, a lot of negativity. You're going to think the worst, but there's beauty in this as well. And I see that when people are picking up Olivia for me and stuff like that.
We're going to have a good time next weekend, right?
Yes.
You got to keep making plans because that's
Yes.
the only thing you have to put that foot in front of the other, right? Like,
Yeah. And it does feel a little COVID because we had to cancel our first Disney World trip. We had to cancel a lot of things. But you have to make plans. Otherwise, like, you aren't looking forward to something. And so, like, let's make plans next weekend. And if I don't feel well, you'll come over again.
Heck
like,
yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So, yes, making plans is important still.
I wrote down, I made like just a basic list of questions that I thought I would ask you. And I wrote down hopes and fears, but I'm going to X out the fears because screw the fears, right? Like
Those are obvious, I think.
Yeah. But you mentioned to me something I didn't know today is that you have never Googled any of this, which is wild as a reporter and as an overall nosy person, which I know you are, like to not have Googled any of this. Tell me why you didn't do that. Like, did you have to slap your own hand to like get away from the keyboard?
Actually, no, because I was so scared. I was so scared in those first 2 weeks. I didn't want to know. And when they told me that it was an aggressive form, I didn't want to know the statistics or the prognosis or anything. So I decided that I was just going to trust my doctor, trust all the people in the medical field and community and my second opinions, trust that over Google and forums and everything like that. I use the forums I talk to women, I'm like, my hands are really itchy. What is this? What do you guys use? Not what my treatment plan should be. So I have gotten a couple of those feedback when I made my announcement of what I should be doing. But once again, I'm trusting my doctors.
Yeah.
I do not want to know the statistics of this because it doesn't matter. I'm going to beat it.
Yeah, heck yeah, you're going to beat it. I think I told you this the day you found out, like, this is going to be a really crappy year. Right? Like, there's just no
and to
way.
think I was so excited at the turn of the new year.
It's kind of how we all felt, like, right as COVID hit. Like, who knew, right?
Right.
But it's going to be tough. But you're going to beat it, babe. It's just going to be a really tough time. What's next in your? You've got chemo, which will go for many weeks, right? What's next for you?
So I have 4 more treatments of the Taxol Carbo combo.
Okay.
And if people are out there going through it, they understand that.
Okay.
And then I switched to a different drug, which is called adriamycin. And there's another combination with another drug in there. But that one's making me a little nervous. Okay. I haven't Googled this, but I've heard from other women who've had that particular drug, and that one could be a doozy. And so I'm starting to like worry a little bit about that. But someone told me when you start to go down the worry lane to go cancel. So whenever I start to worry about that, I'm like, cancel. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
I'm in this moment. So that's next medically. And hopefully after all of this is over, then after that is surgery. Then after that, I don't know what my long-term treatment plan is, but to go to Disney World when we finally can and take this little princess-loving girl to Disney World.
Oh, my God. Give Elsa her castle. You know what I mean?
I know.
When you say surgery, what does that mean?
Well, it could be a lumpectomy or it could be a mastectomy. Okay. I mean, I have this aggressive form. I'm leaning toward the latter, and the doctors tell you if lumpectomy is a possibility, it's your decision.
Got it.
And so I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. The first time you meet with the oncologist, the surgeon comes in. Dr. Bensonhaver came in. And she was a breath of fresh air and lovely. And she's like, we're not to you and me yet, but I'll be your surgeon, and these are the options. So that's how I know that so far, but I don't have to decide yet.
So it sounds like you've got a team that is really supporting you from all the sides, right? Sides that you probably never even anticipated were going to be things that you had to think about during this. Is there anything that has surprised you along the way?
Just the people that have sort of come out of the woodwork to help us before this public announcement, the personal people who've come up and the things that they're coming up with to do. I find that the actionable things really do help instead of saying, let me know if I can help you. One of my friends, my golf friends, said, I'm going to make an Easter eggs for Olivia. I'm going to put it all together for you. All you have to do is put it around your yard on Easter. And she dropped off a bag with pre-filled Easter eggs.
Who thinks to do that?
I know.
Angels.
Angel. There's another angel.
Yeah.
And like I said, the people picking up Olivia and helping me when I'm really, really tired. It's just been unbelievable.
What do you want listeners to know that I haven't asked you?
That's a move that we would do all the time.
Totally.
Interviewing
Is there
people on TV.
Anything I haven't asked you that you would like to include in this story?
I'm the subject.
You are. This is so bizarre.
This is bizarre.
Yeah.
That's one. This is not comfortable for me to be the subject, but I just feel this need to talk about it because hearing others helped me so much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing this, not to be a headline in the Daily Mail, which was surreal.
Super weird.
But to try and help people. So that's why I'm doing this. And if we could get a community here in Detroit of people talking about it and not feeling alone, that's the point.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
So glad we found each other. Well, this has been an honor for me. I only cheered up a couple times, which I would call a success. I'm just going to start saying cancel anytime that stuff
Do you have
goes.
any negative thoughts in your life, even if you don't, if you're not on the journey?
Yeah.
Cancel.
Cancel.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Jamie, I'm excited for your podcast.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear all the people you're going to interview and the lives you're going to change and the things that you'll just teach us about. I think the big takeaway here is women, like, pay attention, right? Mm-hmm. Don't ignore things. Be active about it. And be your own advocate, right?
And I felt like I was doing all the right things with the mammogram 6 months ago. It was clean, but something didn't feel right that time in the playroom with my daughter. And so that brought me to this moment. And Henry Ford is going to save my life.
Yeah, heck yeah, we are. Well, I'm honored, doubly, right, to be doing this, but also to be working at the place that you're getting your care. I'm here for you, obviously, and we're here for all of our patients in all the ways. So, Jamie?
Yes?
It's been fun.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you.
You're one of my angels.
I love you, girl. You've got this.